Hey guys, how's it going? So, as we all know, Shavkat Rakhmonov is an extremely skilled fighter. He has a great jab, a great spinning wheel kick, excellent jiu-jitsu, and a granite chin. But today we're going to be covering one of his most underrated and deadly weapons, his knees, particularly to the body. So, when it comes to knees, in any sense, Muay Thai or MMA, the best time to land them is usually when the opponent is punching. That's because they're a little more hunched over and their body is stretched out. So Shavkat, he throws a combination to push Alex Oliveira back to the cage. Oliveira then starts to circle away. Shavkat starts to chase. That causes Oliveira to plant his feet and try and throw back. And as soon as Oliveira tries to throw back, Shavkat throws a knee right to the midsection, hurting Oliveira really bad. This is because, again, his body is stretched out, he's planting himself, he's getting ready to throw, and just the timing and the precision of the knee was perfect. And this hurts Oliveira really, really badly. Now we see Shavkat pushing Oliveira up the fence in an over-under position. Oliveira wants to obviously circle away, so he lifts his underhook. Now, the underhook was acting as a guard against the knee. So when he lifts his underhook and tries to turn around, he's taking away his guard, and when he turns, he exposes his body, so Shavkat slips a knee in there perfectly. Now, you actually see this quite a lot in Shavkat's game. He'll often fail at trips. Like, he'll just go for a trip and he won't get it, and that's okay. Because similar in Muay Thai, a lot of the time what people do in the clinch is they'll half trip them or off balance them to get them in a position where they're more open for the knee. And this is what Shavkat does. He goes for an outside trip. It doesn't work. Oliveira, however, is stretched out and open for the knee. So Shavkat capitalizes on the failed takedown and plants a knee to his body very nicely. This gets Oliveira more hunched over. Now he wants to get close to Shavkat. Because the thing is, the best way to defend knees is either to just simply be far away from them, but Oliveira's getting out striker range, or you get your hips close to their hips, because then the opponent doesn't have enough room to knee. It's one of the best defenses to knees I've found, just hips to hips, very close together. This causes him to try and go for takedowns, and it ends up with him caught in a guillotine, finishing the fight. While the knees didn't necessarily finish the fight, they had an extremely big role to play in Shavkat's win. Now, Shavkat's knees were on full display in the Jeff Neal fight. You see a couple different strategies he used that remained consistent. So first of all, him using his underhook. Again, an overhook or even an underhook acts as a block. If Shavkat has the underhook, he can lift the opponent's arm and open up room to knee the body. That's what he does in this scenario. And then right after that, Neal tries to escape the clinch. The best time to knee is also, or one of the best, is when someone's trying to escape the clinch, because if you have control of their upper body or the head and they try and get their hips away, that stretches out their body and gives you the room to throw a knee, and this is what Shavkat does multiple times. Shavkat's knees work extremely well in conjunction with his grappling, as his grappling mainly relies on trips and sweeps. And one of the best ways to defend trips or clinch takedowns is to simply have your hips away from the opponent. But, as I mentioned before, one of the best ways to defend against knees is to have your hips close. So here we see Neal pushing Shavkat against the fence, which is a good position for Neal, but he's keeping his hips away to avoid the takedown. Shavkat, however, notices this, grabs the head, and just plants a knee right to his midsection. Here we have a situation where they kind of come to a clash, and Neal, again, tries to exit, as he knows that Shavkat has good knees and good elbows. But it's actually this exit that Shavkat capitalizes on, because when they clash, Shavkat gets the underhook, lifts Neal's arm, and slides in a nice knee across the body. One thing you see with Shavkat is he doesn't knee to the side of the body, he doesn't tap knees to the side, he goes across, and he's almost hitting like the diaphragm, like just under the lungs, really causing a lot of damage. Again, Shavkat fails the takedown, probably because Neal came in about 5 pounds over, which made him very difficult to get to the ground, which makes the knees, in fact, more effective, as his belly's a little bit more chubby. There's, probably less muscle protecting his stomach. But you see Shavkat fail a takedown, get Neal off balance, and then he uses the underhook to lift Neal's arm and slide in a nice knee. Here, Neil and Shavkat are in an over-under position against the cage. Neil is using his arm to block Shavkat's leg to actually prevent the knees, but Neil then wants to worry about the clinch position. He wants to escape, so he starts attacking the underhook. But as soon as Neil removes that guard, Shavkat again slips in a knee. Pretty straightforward. Now, Shavkat starts trying the knees out in the open, just pressuring Neil a little bit backwards and then throwing the knee. However, Neil's good at actually kind of turning his guard and blocking it with his forearm and his elbows. So Shavkat is like, okay, let me just commit to them against the fence. Because when someone's against the fence, the only direction they can really go is kind of forward into your knee. So he is just experimenting with what kind of knees and what setups he can use for them. We see this in this sequence and in the finishing sequence. Shavkat lands a massive head kick which rocks Neil, gets him towards the fence where he's finding more success with the knees, and Shavkat straight up fucking sprints towards Neil with, one hell of a knee, knees him in the body, hurts him real bad. He then goes for another knee as Neil is trying to circle out. He uses the collar tie to drag Neil out and to drive in another knee. Shavkat then begins chasing after him. He doubles up on the right hand to get Neil's guard high, uses the next right hand to grab his head and land another knee. Just systematic attack of the body from Shavkat. And then as soon as Neil decides to throw back with a punch, his body's stretched out, he's planted in place, Shavkat again slams a knee right to the midsection. Shavkat again tries to land the knee in a bit more open space, but he's finding that Neil is able to break the collar tie and move away a lot quicker, avoiding the knee. So Shavkat instead tries this, then fakes the knee and lands a body kick as Neil is going out. He does this a couple of times. He lands quite a lot of good front kicks and body kicks to Neil. Helps disguise the knee, helps blend the attacks together really well. And they get in another clinch sequence when Shavkat loads up a knee, so Neil begins to start trying to block his body, and Shavkat just starts battering him with elbows, and it's just a really good mixing of just really violent techniques that keeps catching Neil off guard and makes the knees, again, more effective when they do eventually come. And for the finishing sequence in the third round, Shavkat lands a massive right hand that gets Neil stumbling towards the cage. Shavkat starts throwing punches, Neil starts throwing back. As Neil throws back, Shavkat lands a huge knee that literally gets Neil to crumple over, which is massive. And then Neil's like, oh shit, I'm about to get kneed in the face. He pops back up. And then Shavkat starts mixing in the elbows again, varying the attack. And as they're against the cage, they're in sort of a clinch position. Shavkat's controlling Neil's wrists. Neil is almost turning his body parallel to the center of the cage, so his entire body's exposed. Shavkat lets go of whatever grip he has to remove any form of blocking and just slams in a knee, which gets Neil to hunch over again. As Neil hunched over, this allows Shavkat to take the back and slip in the choke. Again, while it wasn't necessarily the cause of the finish, the right hand was probably more influential, and his perfect technique with the choke, the systematic attack of the body, particularly with the knees, was a big part of his success into beating Jeff Neal. And it's these knees and this proficiency in the clinch is why I actually was picking Shavkat to beat Belal Muhammad. I know a lot of people were, but these were some of the specific reasons I was looking at. As Belal, he kind of has a big belly. He's probably got that HGH type gut. He charges forward, he lunges, his shoulders are kind of over his knees. So I could imagine while Belal's trying to chase after Shavkat on the feet or go for a takedown, Shavkat would nail, a knee into the body pretty clean and, do quite a lot of damage to Belal in that sense. So I was really looking forward to the matchup, and I do hope we see that in the future. Now, against Ian Garry, it's a little bit different as he is a little bit taller. Garry, however, long torso, not as much meat on the bone. He's got that vegan body, let's be honest. But I don't see them in a position where Gary's trying to escape from the clinch as quickly as maybe a Neil Jeff Neal or anyone else would. But I do still think the attack to the body could be beneficial, especially against a much taller opponent. I just don't think it will come with the knees. But again, extremely interested to see that matchup, and I do have Shavkat winning that as well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the technique breakdown, and enjoy the rest of your day.